I don't even know where to start. I don't even know where to. I mean, when I think, okay, I've got this pretty much figured out. I got this pretty much figured out. I'm not even close. I'm not even close to it. It's the most incredible thing I've ever seen in my life. It is beyond anything I have ever seen. I try, and you understand this. Thank God for you. You understand this. People are looking at the specifics. Was the reservoir filled? Was it not filled? Okay, that's very interesting. Gavin Newsom's on TV. He's lying. There's nothing new. Schiff is lying. It was full. They're lying. They look at you and they just say, no, this is, it was full, this reservoir, and it's not. And then they're so good at lying, they just sit back and we'll spend the next, 2 or 3 hours online saying, he's lying. He's lying. It's the most incredible thing I've ever seen in my life. It's okay, he's lying. Yeah, but you don't understand, he's lying. Okay, he's lying. Yes. Yes, he is lying. But that's not it. That's not it. That's okay. And it's interesting. You can look at the levels. We're seeing something. There was a picture of this lone firefighter, or this one with a hose in this maelstrom, this blast furnace. It's the most incredible thing I've ever seen. And I'm thinking to myself, is he crazy? Or is he a hero? I'm serious. If you're walking in and houses are absolutely like a blast furnace, and you're there with a hose, risking your life for what? The water turns to steam immediately upon. I'm not in any way, believe me, I think these people are incredible. But do you see this? I know you do. We're going to be talking about this. We're going to be talking about the real thing to watch for. And this is the toughest part. This is where the globalists, this is going to be a shovel-ready land grab like you can't believe. And this is what's the most difficult for people to realize, but you do. Let me also tell you, thank you. We are noticing, thanks to your effort, significant difference in the number of subscriptions. Ladies and gentlemen, the only currency of success in this world that we're in are subscriptions. That's it. Oh, views, certainly that's it. But subs are the thing that just kill you. There are people who have a few subscriptions, big numbers, they still like them. And I've told you, for reasons I will never understand, it seems as though maybe we have been, perhaps maybe there's a thumb on the scale. And we've noticed swaths of losses. But because of your efforts and because of your belief in giving people something a little bit different, we see it appreciably and we thank you. And I ask you again, please subscribe to Lionel Nation. And that's all I'm going to say. I don't like these shows that start off immediately begging you, but I'll give you my time. I'll give you my effort. I'll give you my heart. I'll give you my information, my perspective. And you give me your subscriptions. Among other things, of course. But first, this very important message. Have you ever wondered what happened to the legendary Chuck Norris? I recently saw a video he made, and I was shocked. He's in his 80s and still kicking proverbial butt and working out and staying active. And what's even more shocking is he's stronger, can work out longer, and even has plenty of energy left for his grandkids. Now, he did this by just making one change. He says he still feels like he's in his 50s, and his wife even started doing the one thing too, and she's never felt better. She says she feels 10 years younger. Her body looks leaner, and she has energy all day. Chuck made a special video that explains everything. And make sure you watch it by going to chuckdefense.com/Lionel or by clicking on the link below this video. It will change the way you think about your health. And once again, that's chuckdefense.com/Lionel. Click on the link in the description below to watch the video now. And you won't believe how simple it is. And just a reminder, the legendary Chuck Norris is a whopping 84 years old and yet has more energy than he ever has. He discovered he could create dramatic changes to his health simply focusing on 3 things that sabotage our body as we age. Watch his method by clicking the link in the description box below at chuckdefense.com/Lionel. Now, my friends, what I'm about, you understand it. That's one of the reasons I love speaking to you, is because you understand this. What I find the most interesting is where this thing is going and how these folks will always give you at least the bottom line story, or the initial story, and then you've got to dig further. What am I saying? At the time of the 23 years ago, on the 11th day of the 9th month, many of us said, okay, there were 2 events. The event of that horror that we saw, we were here a part of, and the other part, the other aspect, was what happened thereafter. What did it mean? And what it meant was we had the Patriot Act. We had immediate military incursion in Iraq and Afghanistan. And it was just, it was the defense. I mean, it changed PNAC. It had nothing to do. We forgot the incident. Yes, that was the reason. But what's happening here? Spend some time today and go through this notion. Go through some research of how many wildfires there have been. Fires. 1900, 1929, 1930, 1935. There have been fires throughout history. Don't forget, my friends, ask for it in my name. There have been fires since they recorded fires. And you can say, okay, domesticity and urban life abuts forest, and you can come up with, I'm so bored with that. So rule number 1, there have been fires forever. There have been these forever. Absolutely positive forever. What is different now? Now, let me ask you another question. What they're going to be doing is they're going to be saying, and let's see all you legal folks out there, they're going to be claiming, you do know that in some fire policies, arson is an excluding factor. They will exclude, they will refuse your policy for arson, which is a very interesting concept. Not your arson, apparently, but if somebody just decides to, I guess, torch your building and you had nothing to do with it, according to the terms of it, they can exclude ahead of time. Just like in some forms of some life insurance, something, certain forms of self. Anyway, so what's very interesting to note, which I find very fascinating, is this issue from a legal issue. If your house was burned, it was destroyed, what was the cause of it? Was it arson? Do you think if they find somebody with a blowtorch somewhere off of Ventura Boulevard or somewhere, and he torches something, that is responsible for everything? Was it the wildfire? Or was it the arson, or both? And you're going to say, I was the victim of a wildfire. Somebody adding arson to it It's not going to. So anyway, so that's what's going on right now. It's a very interesting legal issue. It's just like, as you know, certain buildings on that fateful day 23 years ago were insured for various things, and then weren't. So was it a terrorist attack? Was it happenstance? Who knows? So we'll get to that later. That's a very interesting question. They're also they asked, do you know whether Adam Carolla did or did not lose his home? Now, I've not kept up with him. I have not followed him per se, but they asked him repeat. I saw him on something that said, did you lose your home? He said, I don't know. I'm not sure. I thought that was very interesting. Nobody can tell. So when you move all this, what's really going on? I was so impressed, and I get some of these Substacks are pretty good, but there's this one that I really appreciate, Dr. Peter and Ginger Bregan. It's called LA Fires Clear the Way for Smart LA 2028 and 2028 LA Olympics. This is one of those ones where you should, for all practical purposes, you should, how do I say this? You should bookmark and keep under advisement. Let me see if I can explain this to you. First, now remember something. If I tell you this, I can't tell you how. If somebody benefits from something, that doesn't mean they were necessarily involved in it. Give you an example. On that horrible day, on the 11th day of the 9th month, many people benefited tremendously from this horrible terrorist activity. Horrible. They found themselves in the position of, it was horrible. Now, that doesn't mean that because they benefited from it, they were involved in it. That didn't mean that it just sometimes people benefit from things. Sometimes folks benefit from stuff. I don't know how to say it any other way than they just benefit. And that's the way it is. That's the way it goes. So right now you had people who were waiting for the longest time to just change Los Angeles. They wanted so much to make it into this. And these programs, and here's the best part. And if there's one thing that Alex Jones, by the way, doesn't Alex look great? Doesn't he look terrific? I don't know if he says he's not using Ozempic, by the way. Be careful of that stuff. That's all I'm going to tell you. In any event, there he was, and he just sounds terrific. And one of the things he was going through was this notion of, he always said, and I've always found this interesting, he always said, all of the information that is there that you need to know has always been there, has always been available. Everything. They don't hide anything. See, that's one thing about these people. They don't hide anything. They tell you exactly. So going back and looking at this one particular piece, this one article, it is so terrific. It is so interesting because they talk about these various, and I think I've told you about this. The quotes are terrific. Let me see if I can give you this link. I love where credit, I give credit where credit is due. This is fantastic. And one of the things which people love to understand is sometimes you need something in order to facilitate this. So for the longest times, there's LA 28, there's C40, there's the, there's so many. There's of course the usual Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, Vision 2045. I can't keep track of that. Then there's the lifestyle. But basically what they want to do is, depending upon the particular area, they want to take this area and they want to all to be digital, modular, green. They want to get rid of all the cars and all the stuff. Just get rid of them. And they want little areas. They're called densities. I forget the name. There's this densify or something, where they want 3 to 5 stories above retail units. And they want to create these things called 15-minute cities. You've heard about this. And people say, yeah. And we want to go and we want to do it in Los Angeles. Yeah. Good luck, buddy. Good luck. Okay? And we want people to get rid of their cars and change the way. These people live in the hills and in Malibu. They're not going to get rid of their cars. Yeah. Well. So it's a pipe dream, buddy. This area is so densely packed with rich people and $16, $20 million homes. They're not. What do you think? Why would they possibly leave or convert or say, here, I'm turning my property over. You're right. Let's downsize. I don't want these vistas. I don't want to look over the city. I don't want Malibu and Brentwood. And no. You're right about that. And these people may talk a good game as far as your life goes, but they take private jets and they are not green at all. Okay, to make a long story short. So they sat back. And they said, okay. Now, all of a sudden, at the same time, people were saying, now we're planning on going green. And these people said, I don't know where this guy Garcetti is going and all these people. I don't know where they are going with this crazy talk about going green. You're not, what are you talking about? Okay. At the same time, somebody said, bring in the lesbians. What? The outer shape lesbians with a bad haircut. Oh, yeah. You know, okay, good. The one who looks like Brock Lesnar. Yeah, bring her in. The Bronco Nagurski Butkus, bring them in. They can't lift anything, but they're just. And have the fire department go into this DEI thing more than ever. The fire department, just wait. We want to destroy the fire department. Why? You'll see. We want there to be a time that when we really need the fire department, there's no fire department. So what do? We hire incompetent people. We get this woman in charge of water because remember, the fire department without water is what? Nothing. It's like a safe gun is called a stick. If there's no water, there's no fire department. What are they going to do? Douse them with extinguishers? I don't think so. We still use water, pumpers, hydrants, all this stuff. Okay. So remember, we've got this group over here and they're saying, I don't get it. How are you going to get rid of, Tom Hanks? Well, he's staying. What about Spielberg? He's staying. What about Adam Carolla? No. The people who are the big mouths? No. You're the first to go. No. How do you know? Oh, we know. We know everybody's houses. Okay, so we do that. Then we take Bronco Nagurski there to cut along with this Marxist, Castro-loving, incompetent Karen Bass. She's the mayor, and she's going to cut. Here comes, what's his name? He's going to cut. This is Gavin Newsom. In order to protect smelt, some stupid bait fish or whatever the hell this thing is, or steelheads, or this is perfect. You understand? Let me stop right now. Here's this area we're going to get. So what I've done is I've just basically killed any kind of attack, any attempt at helping this with fire in the event there were to be a fire, a real bad fire. And somebody would say, wait a minute. These fires have been pretty, we've had fires, but they're not, they're not. We haven't been wiped out. Oh, yeah? You haven't been seeing fires lately, have you? You don't remember Northern California? Lahaina? Do you remember these? Ladies and gentlemen, Kendra Set Louder says, putting together all of the ingredients to bake their cake. Yes. It's almost like everybody gets together. You do this. Hey, folks, on the 11th day, you want that, remember, Afghanistan is the Saudi Arabia of lithium gold and others, but lithium. Afghanistan, forget the poppies, heroin. Nah. Well, how are we going to get that? Sit tight. What do you mean? Just sit tight. You seem confident. Well, we'll see what happens. Next thing you know, this happens. Troops go to Afghanistan. There you go. And when we go there, we take it. When was the last time, as Gerald Salenti says, when was the last time we ever invaded a country that exported broccoli? No. Now, what I'm saying is pretty nefarious. I know. So all of a sudden, in a couple of years, right before 2028, lo and behold, they have decimated, gutted, emasculated. Interesting phrase when you've got a bunch of these, when you've got the fearsome foursome running the show. They're all named Kristen or Christine, all driving Subarus. Just saying. Then we have the reservoir that is just emptied. And Newsom and Schiff go on TV and they lie. No, it's full. No, it's not full. No, it's full. It's not full. Okay, fine. Then they talk about brush and underbrush and an arsonist here and the wind. Don't worry about that. So all of a sudden, everybody in play? Yep. You got that? Fire department? Dead. Good. Even in their trainings, you see these fat old women, sorry to say this, kind of barely like out of breath, running from the back of the truck. No helmet, just pretending they're running. It's the most ridiculous. And then you have Dick Butkus go on TV and say, and you know what? If I've got to go in there to pick up your husband, maybe you shouldn't have been there in the first place. It's his fault. So you can't do this. So not only do we gut everything, we also destroy the public image. Are you following me? Baby Gerald, ladies and gentlemen, said, these so-called 50-minute cities have been tried before. Le Corbusier tried the concept in the 60s and 70s. Art critic Robert Hughes featured these in the Shock of the New series in the mid-1980s. Very interesting. I appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, official RY Nirvana, January 20th at 12:05 p.m. Can't get here soon enough. Our country is hurting and burning. Absolutely. And thank you for your kindness. Oh, it's going to be there. Do you think President Trump understands this? Do you think he understands this truly? I hope so. I hope he grasps the notion of what this means. I truly do. I absolutely, truly do. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But let me just tell you something. So when somebody said, okay, now I don't know what now means. Was now something that happened naturally? Was it helped along? I don't know. Was it LIHOP? Let it happen on purpose? We knew this was coming. Was it make it happen on purpose? I don't know. Is the story of this so? You see, when Marjorie Taylor Greene spoke, she was called the anti-Semite because I believe she might have confused. I'm not expert enough on the story about this, but she might have perhaps gotten the story wrong, but some of the patents for some of the weapons are either held by or a part of people that, and you could draw all of your analysis. She might have jumped in at the last moment. She might have at the very last minute to this notion come along and said, I think I'm going to make some, I don't know. I can't speak for her, but there is something to be said about this, which is very interesting. Very, very interesting. And I can't say it enough, but I will tell you that if you look at who holds patents to certain directed energy weapon systems, that might be where somebody might have extrapolated that either correctly, incorrectly, or what have you. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. We're not going to go there, but what they're doing is they're jumping on this. So when you bring up directed energy weapons as a possibility, they say, what do we do? Go for the anti-Semitic trope. Oh, I guess this is what? Jewish laser beams? Is that what you're doing? You anti-Semitic. See what they do? And you're saying, I don't know what you're talking about. Is that what you're doing? Because once the connection is made, that's it. Oh, you're going to use horse dewormer? What? Remember that? Once they use it, that's going to shut you down. But can I let you in on a secret? I don't care what they say. I don't care what they say about Marjorie Taylor Greene or this isn't anti-Semitic. This morning. Did you hear this morning? Joe Biden, I played this. I can't play it enough again because it kills me. But when he was sitting in his office, he said, it seems almost like a battle zone. It seems as though certain houses are hit directly. Now, I am not suggesting anything because I'm not an expert in this, but I will tell you this. In all of the years of the fires that there has been up and around and near this area, like I told you, you can, I just research. I remember just the number of fires that were just associated with these. It's incredible. But here's the thing. I've never seen anything like this. Why would we be less able to handle fires now? Let me say this again. And remember, this is a little trick. And it helps sometimes. And I'm not doing it to you because you don't need to. But when you're talking to somebody and you make a point, always say, let me say that again. I want to make sure you caught that. Because it's very difficult. Don't make it sound like they're stupid. Make it sound like this is so hard to believe. There has never been anything like this. There have been fires on Lahaina, but in the year 2024. And think about this. Okay. In Hawaii, fine, how are you? Surrounded by water, they can't take planes and say, oh, this is no problem, and just put the fire on. And when you tell people this, what they will do is they will always say, well, you see, you don't understand. And they fight you on this. They fight you. It's the weirdest thing. I told you, it's Ignaz Semmelweis who said, I think we should wash our hands. Pussy. What? That's what they do. They fight you on that. They fight you. And you're saying, no, I'm not. This doesn't make any sense. These fires are too fast. We saw this in the Northern California. So we see this all the time. Let me throw in the mix. Everybody now is being told, don't go back there. It's dangerous. The air is polluted. What are we going to do? You can't go back. Okay, so what happens? We're not going to pay you back. Insurance may or may not cover this. You'll never get insurance again. You're not going to rebuild. There's nothing to rebuild. What if you say, here's my house, and everything is around you is Dresden or Hiroshima? People aren't going to move back there. People aren't going to go through that again. So you've got all this real estate that, lo and behold, is now available. It's available. Ladies and gentlemen, it's available. This is the most incredible thing in the world. And as this wonderful article, as Peter and Ginger Bregan say, they quote the note, and I love this. They refer to the great Rahm Emanuel, who said, "Don't let a tragedy go by." Listen to this. This is from Smart Technology. By the way, this is 2020. This is the blueprint from 2020. This was Garcetti, Eric Garcetti. Los Angeles residents will experience an improved quality of life by leveraging technology to meet urban challenges. No longer the car capital of the world. No. Residents will choose how they wish to get around LA using single digital payment platform with choices like renovated metro rail and bus systems or micro transit choices, such as on-demand LA Now shuttles or dockless bicycles. Neighborhoods will again welcome the pedestrian. Oh, happy day. And they're saying it right there. Smart LA 2028. Technology for a better Los Angeles. Do you remember this is interesting. I find this fascinating. Coincidentally, when the Olympics, I don't think people recognize this, but the 2028 Olympics to be hosted, maybe theoretically, who was it? Because they asked Gavin Newsom, "Are you going to have this?" He goes, "Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah." You see, this is the globalist spectacle. This is their Super Bowl. This is what they want more than anything else. This is it to them. Andrew Hessing says, "Uncle I grew up in the area, South Pasadena, until I was 21. Control burns all summer. No Santa Ana winds in the winter, just fall and spring." Listen, you can say that, but they'll say, "Well, this is a different time, Andrew." And thank you, by the way. Andrew, this is global warming. This is global warming. You don't understand, my son. But you remember when, in 2008, the China Olympics, they displaced, I love this word, 1.5 million residents in Beijing during the preparations for this. 1.5 million. This is incredible. And many of the confirmed venues for the Olympic Games are located right smack dab in the neighborhoods that have been affected. Listen to this. I'm going to read this. This is from the Smart LA 2028 plans have developed and perfected the vision of a new and improved region of the city that will be a showcase of modernity and global citizenship when hosting the upcoming Olympics. As with many plans and tabletop exercises. Do you remember the tabletop exercise? Do you remember that term? The tabletop exercises that were done prior to the Rona. Remember that one? Which we now know was some alleged manufactured, weaponized to introduce totalitarian measures and a kind of a biomedical martial law. The 15-minute plans for the damaged regions are already being hammered out. And they're going to do this. Do you understand what we're saying? They're not going to be kidding around. They're not going to be waiting. They're going to do this. Do you remember during the Rona? Remember how fast it was like this? Overnight, they had these things, and they had the places and the mask and this and the adhesives, and you can go to this, and you looked on slide. Can I go here? Can I go there? Can I get this one? Can I get? Do I got to get the booster? Do I get my little card? Remember that? It was so fast. these tabletop exercises. These, I mean, it is these tabletop, I'll never forget that term. Karen Bass, the Marxist, cut the fire department budget by $17 million this year. It's not coincidental. Limiting, as you can imagine, the ability to contain fire. FEMA has now declared they will pay for more firefighters, promising reimbursements to the state of up to 75% of the cost. The LA fire chief has been warning for weeks for the department could be hindered responding to a large scale. And by the way, believe it or not, the original lesbian chief may have been spot on. They may basically give her the boot. And just as a matter of fact, I don't give a damn if you're a lesbian or not, as long as you're able to fulfill the physical requirements. That's it. I would be, you know what? I am a very, very interesting person. I am so, oh my God, I'm so fascinating. I'm so educated and I'm so diverse. You don't want me as a fireman. I can't pick this stuff up. I might be good for, I don't know, some kind of a dispatcher or something. I may be able to lend absolute. Let me tell you something. If there is an elderly group of people, I guess, who are in trouble, you might want to send me. Go, hey, that guy's one of us. I can't pick anything up. I can't run far, but I'm with you. We can talk about the 60s and what was your favorite concert? No, it doesn't make any sense. So that is just nonsense. This is nonsense. This is nonsense. And I'd be great, but I'd say, you don't want me. And if somebody said, hey, listen, we're trying to recruit people of you. What? Why? Just because we want to make sure that when you show up, you know, they recognize you. So that I'm the last person there they're looking at when I can't drag them out of the house. Real shorty long. Ladies and gentlemen, just like in medicine, there's more money in the treatment rather than the cure. I feel like it's the same thing in government. Ladies and gentlemen, if you ever get the chance to see this youngster play, he is a monster. Last time I saw you, Shorty, was at the, I think it was at the cutting room. He is phenomenal. Put your website down where people can see you. You can't believe him. It's a show. Let me just leave it. Without going into detail, it's like something you've never seen ever. So this is kind of where we are. So anyway, when I am running by this, you're looking at me and you're saying, well, okay, makes sense to me. I've got friends who say, wait a minute, what are you saying? Wait, what now? Are you saying that I didn't say anything. I didn't say this was caused. I didn't say what, I said, but isn't it interesting? Isn't it interesting that the things that they need to have happen are happening right now? Isn't that kill you? Helicopters and specialized airplanes that can go into the water. Malibu's right there. They're going right there. Have been unable to assist in firefighting due to the Santa Ana winds blowing up to 100 miles an hour. Most of the planes were grounded. And within 24 hours of the fires, the Navy was directed by President Biden to assist Angelenos, providing 10 Navy military helicopters to do water drops. But the winds are so fierce that multiple tractor trailer trucks have been blown on their sides. I saw this. Now, again, we are not experts in all this. We don't know what's exactly causing all this to happen. Johnny Mazda Spaz says, anyone want to buy an electric car after this? I don't know. Where is Elon? Is it me? I'm just wondering. Why is Bannon giving Elon such a hard time? What is going on here? What is actually going on? This, to me, is the story of stories. This is it. Because they strike when they want. They are merciless in their attacks. And the question is, the president has got to come out right now, take it and say, dovetailing on what Joe Biden said, this is ridiculous. I was listening to the great, the inimitable, the ineffable, Dane Wigington of geoengineeringwatch.org. And he has opined that spray patterns from, basically stratospheric injections, solar radiation management, these, you've seen them, you know what they are. We don't use the chemtrail word. There is no, don't use that. Don't use that. That's a bad word. That's not good. That's not a good word. We don't use that. We call it geoengineering. But that there have been ways suggesting perhaps maybe to direct things, we don't know. I don't know. All of a sudden, we've got hurricanes directed. It's the most incredible thing in the world. And then remember during North Carolina when they said, hey, we like that mountain. There's lithium in them thar hills. And lithium, as you know, in this world we live in right now, just happens to be one of the greatest things in the world, next to rare earth minerals and metals. And the locals said, no, we don't want you're not going to drill. Okay. Isn't that something? Now listen, we're not asking for permission anymore. We're not asking people to say, pretty please, can we maybe bring something up? No. If it stinks, bring it up. If it doesn't make any sense, bring it up. Use your intuition. We're not stupid. We're not going to be treated like children anymore. It's ridiculous. We're done with this. And what's so interesting is that I forced myself to watch. Don't ask me how. I was looking at this my YouTube or the iPad, and Rachel Maddow was giving Pam Bondi such grief. Pam Bondi, I've known Pam Bondi's from Tampa. She went to my law school. We worked in the state attorney's office together. She's a great attorney general. She is the most competent, good. She's so good, they should have picked her immediately and not Gates. And there was this snarky, nasty, irrelevant Rachel Maddow. I'm saying, Rachel, it's over. Ladies and gentlemen, underlining ink says, I grow weary. I can't wait for Trump to be inaugurated. I'm hoping that whatever they try to keep him out of office doesn't work. If only we can get Newsom out of California. Well, listen, that's kind of their own thing. Remember, don't get caught up in this. What he needs to do is this, and I appreciate your kindness. What he needs to do I'm going to give you a shorthand for that, is he needs to do what I do. And he needs to send his own little vectors. He has to go into his little office off of Mar-a-Lago. I hope he stays there. I hope he doesn't come to Washington. I really stay there for your own protection. For your own protection. But I wish he would start off and all of a sudden say, all right, boys, let's go in. All of a sudden, the president's on. And he has his desk and he turns on the camera and he speaks to people. And immediately he asked a question. And this is what I've known is the best part. If you're doing closing arguments, if you're doing something, it's always better to let people think they're answering the question. Rather than say, this is wrong. One time I had a case years ago, defended a DUI. And They tried to, this guy, he hit his head, on this thing. Whether he was drunk or not is irrelevant, as you'll see. They tried to give him field sobriety tests after he hit his head. And there he was, out on the side of the street with the lights going, the strobe effect. He's adrenaline, and he's doing these walking, lifting a leg and picking up this and that. You know how many times, there's a reason why I'm telling you this. You know how many times you've had to recite the ABCs without singing? And by the way, the question is, was the ABC, were they in that order because of the song? I don't know. But do you know that people say, remember, you're scared. You might be legally under the limit, but you're scared. The lights, people driving by, asshole. Okay, lift your leg up. Asshole. Light, woo, woo, right? So I asked the jury one time, I said, do you think that all those factors have an effect, maybe a negative effect, on how limber or how able you would be to perform these? Do you think maybe being hit in the head, hitting outside, do you think that's a good test? Do you? Now, I could have said, I think that's ridiculous. Well, the jury agreed with me. They said, no, it's not. We got an acquittal. Crypto says, make America great again, Uncle Lenny. Make America, as James Wood says, America again. So if President Trump were to sit there and say, I'm sitting here right now with a man who is, I'd like to get some old timer guy. I'm sitting here right now. Sir, thank you, Mr. President. Well, thank you, sir. Mr. So-and-so, his name is Scott Teasdale from, where are you from? Oh, you're from the area, from Palisades, right? The Palisades area. And how long have you lived there, sir? Yeah. Have you ever heard of 100-mile-an-hour winds? He says, never. Did you have fires? Oh, of course. They have controlled burns, as one of you said. They've had, oh, yeah. Never seen anything like this. Does this look right to you? Not at all. I'd love to get experts. I'd love to get almost like a trial, just to have the president sitting there with all these firefighters. What is your name, sir? Everybody who's with a Cal Fire is the name of this. Not the regular group, but these are the ones who rappel and they jump out of helicopters. Have you seen anything like this? Never. Have you been to fires? Yes. What kind of fire reduces stone, and some of them are stucco? You know what's funny? A lot of times, last time I checked, one of the reasons why we build fireplaces out of stone and brick is because it doesn't burn. Isn't that interesting? Don't you find that interesting? During that date, during that terrible, the 11th day of the 9th month, when these steel structures did this at free fall speed, meaning there was no resistance. It was like pow, 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 pow. Looked like it. Little squibs here and there. I asked people, does that look familiar to you? Yes, it does. I can't put my finger on it. What was it? It looks like one of those casinos. Yeah, that's right. And you let people do it for you. Doesn't that look like that? Yeah. You don't think anybody, do you think maybe, is that crazy? Am I crazy? Not at all. Do you think maybe that's a good idea? One time, I had an armed robbery case. We had very liberal voir dire where you could pick juries. And I defended this man. We got this acquittal too. This was a joke. The case was so bad. But they had FBI, all these. They were going to do hair analysis, all this stuff. So I started off picking the jury. I had this one woman. She happened to be from Cuba. which is not rare in Tampa. And I said, Mrs. Fernandez, do you think, now be honest, do you think the police really ever make mistakes? I mean, come on. And she says, oh, yeah. I said, oh, please. The police make a mistake? Yeah. Well, you're going to hear some FBI testimony. Certainly the FBI doesn't make a mistake either. Yeah, they do. Wait a minute. The FBI? Because they're going to come in there. So, I mean, anyway, so make a long story short, why they kept her on, I have no idea. She almost told me basically, they don't know what the hell they're doing. So when you ask people, when you let people feel like maybe they're figuring this out, then maybe you're not bludgeoning them and truncheoning them and attacking them with your conspiracy theories. Maybe if you said, isn't this interesting? Have you ever heard about the 15-minute cities? I kind of sort of mentioned it. And let me tell you something. Listen to Uncle Lenny now. You ready for this? Listen to me. Listen carefully. Behind the scenes right now, unbeknownst to you, are people who are putting together plans to have everything rolled out so fast, your head's going to spin. And when people say, hey, wait a minute, it looks to me like maybe these people were kind of planning this. You're going to say, oh, no, 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 no. This goes to show you their determination. Build back better. We celebrate the heart and the spirit of these Angelinos. And that's what we're about. Making a new day. I mean, what about this? That's right. Sean Penn and Gene Levy and whoever you want. That's right. Adam Sandler and I don't know who's who. We're going to build. What about my house? Well, I don't know about that. The house. What do you mean? Well, I'm not so sure. Let me tell you what they're going to do one time. What they're going to do also. They're going to take. There's going to be. Well, put it this way. It's going to be interrupted now. But the plan was, this I know. They were going to go into areas where there were gated communities and pass new zoning laws where mayors would come in, like your own Kathy Hochul or like a Bass or one of these people, and you would say, we're going to rezone these. We're going to put low-income housing right here to get this, so they will leave. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that nobody wants to have a low income. And by the way, here in New York, you get used to them, but you can't really tell. We have NYCHA, New York City Housing Authority, got NYCHA House. They're all over the place. Off of 57th Street, Billionaires Row or whatever they have. I mean, they've got homeless. Well, we'll see what happens with that afterwards. But there were people who basically want to destroy everything. And now none of these people themselves, they don't want to live next to a housing project. Hell no. They were going to do it, in Mendham, New Jersey, or in Westchester, and Rye, and Tuxedo, and New Rochelle, and Larchmont, Greenwich, Darien. Oh! But the way they do it, but think about this. And I don't want to, I tell people this. I don't want to get into the argument, but one of the arguments that have been made regarding what Bibi Netanyahu is doing when they're talking about apartheid and the like and ethnic cleansing is that if somebody suggested that, if we propose this idea that October the 7th gave us the green light to go after Hamas, that's number one. Number two, Hamas is underneath. They live in tunnels underneath hospitals, buildings of all sorts, schools, daycare center, retirement centers, apartments, shopping, whatever it is. They're everywhere. There's Hamas people. They're in and that the only way to get rid of, to stop Hamas and to destroy them and defeat them is to basically destroy all of the tunnels in Gaza, which means destroying all of the buildings, and in some cases, maybe all of the people. I mean, it's tough. You know, they voted those people in there. What are you going to do? I mean, that's we drop. And so the next thing you know, the argument is that after this is done, there is no two-state solution problem because you just got rid of all the Palestinians. They're gone. Either they left or they're no more. You see how that works now? The reason why people object to it is because it's plausible. See, you only are attacked in this country, for the most part, is if you say something that's true or plausible. How many of you, dear friends, think that there was anything to the subject, anything to the notion that either the CIA or the government flooded black communities with crack cocaine? Not heroin. Heroin's a different story. Heroin, you can live on heroin. You can be, hey, man, you know, let's face it, there are people who have been heroin addicts. It's kind of a downer, you know, granted. But how many of you folks have believed the idea that the CIA or whoever it was, well, I think we give the CIA too much credit and too much blame. Okay? Are you kidding me? Especially when they had all these new laws that say that crack cocaine possession was worse than, okay. To basically just destroy black America. Huh? Black folks saw it. They agreed. Now, was that far-fetched? Of course not. Absolutely not. Why do you think the government all of a sudden was so involved in having cannabis places? Why do you think the government? Because of the money it raised? Nah. Why do you think there was such a push? I don't know about you, but that's all I smell is weed on the street here in New York. That's all we smell. And it's not even weed. It's not the good stuff. Remember, folks? Remember going to a concert in the 60s or the 70s? Remember that smell? Kind of sometimes smell. Oh, it smells like Christmas tree. Oh, what is that? Is that West Coast? Oh, this is all one smell. It's that skunk weed. Why do you think? To F you up. They want to F you up. Lower everything. Testosterone and energy. Make you, hey, man, keep you home. Do your drugs. Stay here. We want you in prison. You want to drink? Drink. You want to do whatever you want. Just stay here. We want every little area to be your own little prison. We're going to say, we don't want you to leave. Stay here. Stay here. And during the Rona, we taught you how we could turn in communities into your own private prison. And what we'll do is we'll give you things like, you know, Netflix. And remember when you would put your mail in the garage? Remember that? Remember those brass key, those little things you get like at a CVS to push it? Oh. So let me go back and ask you this question again. Do you really believe, is there anyone here who thinks that the idea of this as being some precursor or some means of facilitating and accelerating this global takeover, the largest globalist land grab in history, these fires from these ghouls, do you think is far-fetched? Hell no! Watch what happens. Watch. You're going to be all of a sudden, and you're going to say, bulldozer, this used to be Steven Spielberg. Well, not Spielberg. This used to be whatever. Making room for, we're going to put the dormitory here for the shot put. Oh, yeah. This is going to be our testament. And Angelinos have eyes. Wait a minute, you're doing what? And we're going to show the world that we're going to have these little 50-minute cities. We're going to have a little bike. We're not going to have streets. We're going to have pedestrians areas. You're going to have congestion tax in your city like we do here in New York. Oh, yeah. Do you understand it? I'm not a conspiracy theorist. They're telling you this. They're telling you this. They're letting you know this. You can just go down. Look at this. This is something interesting. The images, and again, from this wonderful article from Dr. Peter and Ginger Bregan on Substack. I love this. Listen to this piece. This is really good. And this is about Lahaina. Oh, the images and accounts of the 5 Los Angeles fires are achingly similar to the images and stories of the Lahaina fire in Maui. Administrative incompetence, dry fire hydrants, residents fleeing on foot toward the coast for their lives, from traffic jams threatened by the spreading blazes. As someone wrote, as John Leake said, quote, like Lahaina in 2018, Los Angeles was warned by the Woolsey fire, which ignited on November the 8th, 2018, burned 96,949 acres and destroyed 643 structures. The Woolsey fire, I don't remember that. I don't live there, 2018. They were warned of the sort of catastrophe that is likely to occur when conditions are dry and windy. As was the case in Lahaina, it appears that what passes for leadership in Los Angeles made little to no investment in preventing the disaster. They told you this is what's going to happen. Remember this one? Remember Hurricane Helene leveled so much of southeastern Appalachia? And insurance also plays a part. Property owners in Los Angeles fires have lost homes in the last 48 hours. And by the way, remember what I'm telling you this. It's going to get worse. Brad Rung says Rob Zombie, 60. Jeff Bezos, 61. Dominique Williams, 65. Actor Oliver Platt, 65. Howard Stern, 71. And Football Hall of Famer Drew Pearson, 74. Remember the great joke? Two guys are they're at a urinal. Somebody comes up and says, "Are you Drew Pearson?" He goes, "No, I just started." In any event, my friends, it's an incredible moment. Absolutely an incredible time, It's just one of those things that is so, but we're going to be here for each other. We're going to be here, I promise you. So my friends, to you, to the great Brad Rung, like rung a bell, thank you. Crypto Domini, Underlining Inc., Johnny Mazda Spaz, Real Shorty Long, an incredible performer, an incredible American. Shorty, so good to see you again. And I have a Shorty Long t-shirt that I'm very proud of. It's in my possession. Andrew Hessing, thank you. The official RY Nirvana, thank you so very much for your exquisite and inane kindness. Baby Gerald, thank you. And Kendra Setlauter. I'm not pronouncing that correctly. I do not believe. In fact, Andrew says California passing law forcing insurance companies to cover high risk while they canceled others. That's a tough one. That's a tough one because now you're interfering with businesses, and if their actuarial folks or underwriters think this is I don't know. Good luck with that one. Remember, though, California knew what they were doing. If you are a San Francisco underwriter, and all of a sudden you say, "Hey, earthquakes are whoa. You know about this probably more than anybody else." So we'll see what happens with that. In the meantime. Oh, and Nelson A, by the way. Nelson says, "We love you, Mr. L. Birthday, 7 days. That's right. Mrs. L, her birthday is in 7 days. And I told you what I want from her or for her. In addition to celebrating is she is working so hard to spread the word of child safety, digital safety, helping kids, stopping the predation of children." Can't say that T word because you never know how these things go. The busy mama, thank you so much. Thank you, busy. So please follow Lynn's Warriors on YouTube. As soon as you're done, go to Lynn's Warriors and subscribe. You should see her just lay into Nancy Grace. It's terrific, very respectful. But she just, wow. I thought, whoa. And Nancy Grace is no pushover. She's been around, knows her stuff. But my wife, dear God. So follow her at Lynn's Warriors. And also, my friends, I want to thank you. We don't thank you enough. Thank you for spending time with us. Thank you for spending an hour and 5 minutes. Thank you for subscribing. I want to get this word out. I want to have people, remember what I told you. My goal is to have people think differently. Like Andrew Hessing says, we got to Mrs. L word out there. We got to get the word. Absolutely. And thank you for that. I want people to think differently. I want you to say, and I want you to talk to your friend. Did you know about this LA-20? Did you know about that? Did you know about this? Let me give you this link. This is so terrific. I think they are just superb. Again, it's this couple, I believe. They're Dr. Peter and Ginger Bregan. And I'm going to give you a link to their Substack citation. It is superb. This is something you should follow them definitely, but also bookmark this because it is a wonderful compilation. It's fantastic. You're not going to see this anywhere. There's so much great stuff out there. So thank you for following. Please follow Lionel Nation. Don't forget our sister channel, Lionel Legal Tube. It's coming up the rear. And there's a pun there, and I don't want to talk about it. All right, my friends, have a great and glorious day. Please, thank you again. We will see you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. And until then, remember these words, my friend. The monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue you. Tete.